Hi, it's Tina today with part 2 of my ATC tutorial. So I will walk you through how I created another one of the ATC cards with the August kit. So just like with part 1, this is actually the same video. I pre-coated my ATC cards with a thin layer of gesso. And these cards, I really like the thickness of them, the Echo from the Art Chicks. So once those are dry, I'm deciding on which one of the ephemera sheets to use, and these are really nice because they're actually ATC size, so you could use the entire cutout directly on your ATC card if you chose to. So all I'm going to do is adhere the ephemera sheet directly to my ATC with some of the gel medium from last month's kit. I still have some of it, so I'm attaching. I didn't really need to gesso the ATC, but I wasn't sure when I began the tutorial exactly what I was going to create, so I went ahead and gessoed it anyway, but you would not need to do that. So I'm not going to coat the top layer of the ATC because I'm actually going to paint on top of it, and I really didn't want the gel medium on top. So once the ephemera is dry with the gel medium, I'm going to cover it with some white paint. And I'm using golden paints because I wanted a translucent paint, or unless you use just a basic acrylic craft paint, it would be opaque and you wouldn't be able to see through it. So I'm using golden white acrylic paint, and I actually mixed some other product which I have in the store. Just a second here. I mixed, I can't find it right now. Oh, some acrylic glazing liquid with it, and that actually makes it even more transparent. You can mix the glazing liquid with any craft acrylic paint and make it act similar to a golden paint, which would make it more transparent so you can see layers through it. So when you build color on top of each other, the colors will show through and you can build that layers, which is really nice. Most of my higher quality paints are goldens, and I actually have some Ultrek as well. I like the golden paints better, but I use what I have. So right now I'm mixing several colors of those paints because I'm going to paint her hair. What's really fun about this is if you can't draw, which I can't draw, when you do this technique, you can do it with any sort of ephemera sheet that has a person on it, but you can use them as a guide. So you can paint right on top of the ephemera sheet in any color. You can make them kind of a funky color scheme. You can make them more realistic, but you can paint right on top of the ephemera sheet just like you were painting it yourself. So you can use it as a guide. So I'm going to just start building layers and layers of color on my girl. You can see here I'm starting with the first color, and I'll add many more layers to this as well. I apologize, this video will probably be quiet in several spots just because I sped it up as fast as I could without looking odd, but just to take you through the entire process of me painting the girl. So now I'm looking for some colors to paint her top. So again, it's the same golden or Ultrek paints. They're transparent. And I'm using some, they're called Mysticals from Lindy's Stamp Gang. I was kind of curious to see what they would do, so I've actually mixed some of the powder, which creates some shimmer right into the paint just to build some shimmer to the paint itself. And it kind of created a really, really pretty color. So you can see I'm using, again, the dress as a guide, and I'm just painting right on top of it. With the dress, I actually layered, just like the hair, several colors on top of it, and towards the end of the video you'll be able to see where I added my own little embellishments to the dress just to make it stand out. So now I'm using some colors of yellow because I'm going to color the flower that she's holding in her hand. Again, I'm going to mix some more of those magicals. Actually, right on top of the dress, I wanted more shimmer, so I thought, oh, let's try adding some of the powder right to the wet paint, which is what I did there. It created a pretty interesting look, and it created a lot of shimmer to it. So I'm just using my palette knife to add some of that directly onto the wet paint. And again, if you don't like how it looks, you can paint over it with some gesso or just leave it. So I actually just blended it in with my finger, and it turned out kind of cool. So now I'm just going to layer some stripes onto her dress with some more of that yellow paint. And again, you can follow the same pattern that was in the ephemera sheet, or you can make your own. Since you're painting over it, you're just really using the general shape as a guide. So now I'm just going to build some more colors onto her hair again. And while I'm putting the paint on too, I'm trying to add some shape to it. I'll add more definition with just my doodling pen after the paint is dry, but I'm trying to add some curls and some wispy elements to her hair when I am putting the paint on. So I'm just using some more of that original purpley red color over top of her dress. And again, I continually build layers. And I know it looks like it's going over the yellow, but the yellow actually is visible a little bit through some of that paint that I'm applying right now. Now I'm going to add more color to my flower, some orange in addition to the yellow. Now I'm going to add yet another color to her hair. I just couldn't really get it to the color that I was looking for. I alternated between dark hair and light hair. First, I'm actually going to apply some color to her skin. So this is on her shoulder. I'll do her arm. And I will actually just cover her entire face. You could leave her face as it is, or do a very thin layer on her face so you can still see her eyes, and if you choose you could cover it up and add your own face. I actually just painted right over her face, so she has no face, she's just faceless. But sometimes that's kind of fun because then you can identify to that, because that person really doesn't have a face, and the girl can really identify with anyone. So you can see me just coloring right over her face. So now what I like to do when I do things like this, I do them on my canvases too, by building some of that color and that layer and that dimension. I take my big brush pit pens from Faber-Castell and I just start layering different colors. So you can see I'm adding some purple to her dress, I'm adding some flesh colors to her face. You'll see me actually add some color to her hair. I'll do color to the background. So I just apply the brush, the ink, right to the piece, and I just blend it with my finger. I find that works really well when you blend it with your finger. And then you can define it later with your dueling pen around the outside of it. But you can see I'm trying to build some of those shapes and shadows within her face, and so I'm not adding a face to her. You can build some of that dimension directly on with these pens. So you can see I'm using some of the darker one to build her cheek area and chin area. Just adding some layers to her hair. So now I love using these for background. So you saw with the white paint that I had added to the background, it created, since I used a palette knife to apply it, I didn't use a paintbrush, which I like to do that too. So it's not a solid color. It added some dimension directly to the background anyway. But now I'm adding some more color just as a contrast to the background, and these pens are perfect for that technique. So you can see I'm just applying a little bit and blending it with my finger. The thing you have to be careful with, you can tell me just do that right there. Since I use my finger so much for blending, just kind of keep track of the colors that you've put on there, because obviously if you have yellow on your finger and you have blue on it, then things start turning green. So I just dip my fingers in some water just to get that ink off of the tips of my fingers, since I was using it to blend. So now I'm just taking my doodling pen and I'm adding some definition. So I'm just going over the outside. I'm adding some shape to the hair, some curls. You can see I'm just adding some curls to her hair. I'll define her chin area. I'll define the flowers a little bit. And I just keep adding definition with my doodling pen. This is actually a pen I got from Christy Tomlinson from her store. They're nice because it goes right over these acrylic paint. One thing I do with this too, I'll do the doodling now, but I will go over just again to add more texture and dimension with some more paint, and then go back over it, usually towards the end with more doodling. It just adds texture to my projects, but I do that a lot with my canvases. So like I said, you can follow the similar pattern that was in the ephemera sheet, or you can add your own. I'm actually going to use some of the designs that she originally had, where she had some dots and stripes in her top, and I'm just dotting some of those directly on to her dress with the tip of my paintbrush. And they don't have to be perfect. To me, when they're not perfect, it looks more realistic. So I'm just dotting those onto her top, and then I'll add more decoration to her top here in a minute too. So now I'm actually going to, like I said earlier, I'm going to add some more definition and color to her hair. This is actually a darker color that's going on top of it, so again, adding kind of those wisps of hair and some style and dimension to her hair with the darker color. And this isn't really picking it up in the video, and you can see it in the close-ups that I took with my camera of the ATC card, but you can really see all the dimensions in her hair in the close-ups. So I'm just adding some stripes to the top right now. You could do that with your doodling pen as well if you didn't want to use your paintbrush to do that in. So some highlights to her hair right now. You can see I kept going back and forth. Like I said, with the light and the dark, I couldn't make up my mind what I wanted. That's okay. Just keep adding the paint and the color till you get it to where you want it. So now I'm going to add some green because I really wanted the background to be a little more aqua color instead of that blue color. So I'm just adding some of the green big brush pen to the background, and you can see it's just making it a little more aqua in color. Or teal in color, I'm sorry. Just shading some more on the face. You can see you can definitely tell the chin and the neck area now with the different colors. I'm adding some of the shading just with the pens right onto her. So I like using the white paint. Again, I've got a white big brush pen as well. You can use that or paint just to add some highlights here and there onto it, just like light and shadow directly onto your piece. So again, more shadows onto the flowers. And you'll see in the end I really wasn't getting what I wanted from the flowers, so I actually end up on the finished piece, I cut some flowers from one of the ephemera sheets and just Mod Podged it right down, or gel mediumed it down onto my ATC card, and it added some of that pattern and design that I was looking for. So here I go with the dark again. I think I figured that dark hair looked better on her. And now this is just with my black one, my black pen, adding some more lines to her hair. So this is where I'm adding the flowers that I had cut out from the ephemera sheet, and one of the little sayings right onto it. I'm just adding it with the gel medium right onto the card. And that was kind of the little bit of something that I was looking for the ATC card. It was just another flower piece at the top. So I'm just drying that with my heat tool. Actually, I'm going to add just a really thin coat on top of the entire ATC card just to seal it down, the color and everything. So that's what I just added right there. Now I'll go ahead and dry it. So to start to finish this off, since I'm pretty much done, I'm using my doodling pen again and just adding some more texture to it, adding some pieces to her hair. I'll add more to her chin area. I outlined the little saying that I added to the card, to the flower, just to finish off the ATC card. And you can see me continually cleaning off my doodle pen. The gel medium wasn't quite dry when I was doing this, and it was clogging up the pen, so I was constantly cleaning it off. And that is about done. Just to finish it off, I added some of the Inca Gold on the edges of it, and then at the very end, it's not on the video, but I just put a very thin layer of the glitter paste just to add some glitter and shine to the entire ATC card, and it was done. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and thank you for watching.